What's up Saab fans around the world, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to do something completely different. We are going to do a car review, and this is my first time doing it, so don't have any high expectations. I'm not Doug DeMuro or Shmee150, but I will do my best to make this as good as possible. So today we are going to review my 2011 Saab NG95, and let's start to go around the car and see what we got. So to start with the basics, this is a Saab NG95 2011, and I bought this from Germany just like 1 month ago, and this is the 95 Aero, and it has the TTID4 engine, which means twin turbo, 4-cylinder, and it produces 190 brake horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. And I bought this car just stock as it is, so it didn't stay stock for very long. Since I purchased the car, I have painted the calipers, switched to 21-inch Ocean wheels. I have also installed 5mm spacers in the rear to space out for a better fitment. And it sits pretty flush right now. You could go a little bit more out, but this is perfect, no rubbing. And off camera I have tinted the windows. They come factory tinted, but the factory tint has like a little bit of a green like lighting in them, which I don't like. So I have installed 20% tint on the rear windows, which looks pretty stunning, just completely black. And I have 35% at the front doors, which I think is pretty good. You can see the difference right here. You see out really well, and since this car has the panoramic sunroof, the front windows doesn't appear as dark as on my other NG95, but it suits the car very good, so I think it's really awesome. So to start with, there were only 148 TTIDs that left the factory with the panoramic sunroof, which is basically why I bought this car, because the panoramic sunroof is pretty exclusive. And when you talk about Saab 95s, the OG95, a common mistake that people say or assume is they say, yeah, my car is fully equipped, it has everything except the sunroof, otherwise it has everything. But usually they lack a couple of extra specifications. But on the Saab NG95 there are even more persons that think they have all the options from factory. But if you should have an NG95 with all the options, then you have a lot of options, and I don't know how many they are, but there is not many cars that has all the options available. Most of them are well equipped and ordered from factory, but usually they lack like a couple of options that the buyer didn't think was necessary. So this has a pretty good specification. It is Aero from factory, and it has the automatic headlights or adaptive headlights, so they will follow the road when you turn. We will go out and take it for a test drive and you will see what I mean. So this is what the key looks like. So you have a lock and unlock button. So a cool feature about this car, if you press the unlock button and holds it, the windows go down and the sunroof is being tilted up, which is really nice on the summer if you are away from the car and gets back to the car and it's really hot outside and you want to ventilate out some of that hot air. Just press it. Another cool feature about this car is that it has the foldable mirrors. So if you want to lock the car, you just press the lock button and hold it, and it folds the mirrors and closes the car up again. And underneath the mirror there are a little lighting, which is a homecoming light. So if you unlock the car and press this horn key 2 times, it lights up the homecoming lights, also lights up the headlights. You got the light bar in the rear, which is epic, and I have changed to LED lights on the license plates, and they don't flicker when you unlock and lock the car, and you don't get any fault message when you drive the car. And that is because this is a 2011. If you have a 2010 and install LEDs, you will not have a flickering, but you will get an error message in the display when you start the car that you need to delete. So going over to the inside of the car. The doors and the build quality is much more solid compared to like an OG95 or an NG93. So this car is equipped with the ventilated sport seats. There are a couple of different options right here. You have the ventilated sport seats with fans, which is an awesome option if you have that. You also have another upgrade, which is sport seats premium leather. So then you have a real high quality leather in the seats. They are pretty rare, and if you find one of those sets, go get it. So the first thing you will look at when you enter an NG95 is basically these buttons right here. Here you see directly how well equipped the car is. So here you have the parking sensors in the front that you can activate or deactivate. This car is also equipped with the advanced parking assistant, which means that when you put in the reverse gear, the mirror folds down so you can see the ground better when you are trying to park in at a tight space. So I switched to my smaller action cam, which is a little bit better wide angle on it, so you get to capture everything. I know the sound isn't as good as on the bigger camera, but we will do it like this. So to turn the ignition on, you just push the start key right here. So you got all types of fun things right here. You got navigation. You can switch to like DVD to watch movie. and that is while you're standing still. As soon as you start to drive, you are not able to watch the movie anymore. And you get USB and also got an internal hard drive, so you can store some music to the player. And I know that there is so much more features to know about, but I don't know them all, and we're gonna try some of them while we are out driving and testing the car. But a common failure on these cars is that the buttons fail. So here you can see they have attached a new sticker, which are available on eBay. It doesn't look super nice, but it's good enough. The buttons are pretty expensive to exchange, and there is no new ones made, so the sticker solution is pretty okay. So in this car we have the panoramic sunroof, and it has like a cover on it to start with. So just with a push of the button right here, you open it, and it goes so far back, and it's a really nice feature of the car. So to tilt the window, you just push this button really lightly and it gets tilted, which is the mode I'm driving it mostly in. And to open it fully, you just push it a little bit harder, then it fully opens, and you got this like wind protection. And actually it's not that windy when you drive the car with the sunroof completely open. They have managed to do this really good, actually. So we can take a short look at the back seat as well. So the car is very slim in the roof line. So the roof is pretty low on the back seat, so they have compensated and lowered the back seat a little bit. And now the front seat is adjusted for me. I'm 190 centimeters long, which is quite long, and I sit pretty far back. But even though when I sit in the back seat I have plenty of space, it's not that my knees are touching the front seats, which they would have in like a regular 9.5 or a 9.3. And you sit really epic and looking out at the sky with this panoramic sunroof, which is basically why I got this car. What I'm missing, and what was an option from factory, is the rear entertainment system. So from factory you could order some screens in the headrest for both, so the kids could watch some movies or play games during long rides, which would have been really suited for me. And it is quite hard to reassemble it afterwards, so might be looking into some aftermarket solution right there. So what I didn't mention before is that this car is one of 588 from factory that was equipped with a full-size spare tire. It's nothing really to brag about, but it's pretty unique. I think it was like 11,000 made in total, and 588 came with the full-size spare tire. So this seat also has the memory. So if you are 1 or 2 persons driving the car, now it's basically me, but if you would be more, then you can have your own settings. And if you look at other NGs, you will have the heads-up display button right here, which is a feature where you can see like the speedometer and navigation up in the screen projected, which is a pretty cool feature. But this car is missing that option, but you can't have it all. It has a lot of other goodies. So let's take it out on the road for a little spin. So basically the first question that will come to mind when I start to drive this car is, why did you choose a diesel? And that is a really frequent asked question to me and to a lot of NG95 owners. And basically you had some options when you bought the NG95. So you had the 2 diesel options, which is the TID4 and the TTID4. So both of them are really reliable diesel engines that will take you very, very long as you do the regular maintenance and changing oil filter, air filter, do the cam belt changes that's needed. So as long as you maintain it as you should, they will just keep on going. And to change the timing belt, it's like a pretty easy job, and it's not very expensive. So I highly recommend the diesel engine as a choice if you are going to drive the car on like a regular basis as a daily. It's cheaper to drive, it's a little bit cheaper to maintain and own. Of course, in Sweden the taxes on the diesel engines are a little bit higher, which is one of the negative points, but it equals up in the end. And the boring thing with a diesel engine is of course the sound. At a cold start it sounds and acts like a tractor, and I fully understand that that is nothing that you really want, especially on a car like this. It's more suitable to have a really nice turbo 6 sound or something like that. But the other options are the 4-cylinder, you got the regular petrol, or you got the BioPower 4. Both of those engines are the Turbo 4 engines, so 4-cylinder, 2-liter, and then you got the Turbo 6, which is 2.8 6-cylinder engine. That is the engine choice that I would like to have, but it's really expensive to drive it, and the timing change on both of those engines are not very good designed. So if you own one of the petrol or the BioPower or the Turbo 6, the Turbo 6 is the worst one when it comes to timing chain failures. And it's not the timing chain that is the biggest part, it's the part surrounding them, or the complete timing chain assembly. So it's basically not a matter of if it will break, it's more like it's going to break down at some time. Most of the owners end up having to do it at some point. So that's mostly the reason why I went with diesel cars on the NG95, because I want to drive the cars, I want to enjoy them, and the comfort is the same in them no matter whatever option you choose. So it's just basically the characteristics of the engine. Of course you can rev it higher and get a little bit more horsepower out of the petrol engines, but the negative side is it costs a little bit more, and the cost for a timing chain replacement could be anywhere from, like, I think the workshops charge you somewhere from like 2,000 euro up to 5,000 euro. And I have heard some horrible stories when the same person have had to change the timing chain up to 4 times on the same car, and that eats up just the whole ownership of the car. Then you have paid the car a couple of times over. So that's that about the engine choice. So back to this car. I hope you can see what I'm looking at. So this is the common like Saab setup when you're driving the car. Now this car isn't stock, it's on my custom coilover setup, so it handles a little bit different, but it's just as comfortable. When you hit like a bump in the road, of course it's a lot stiffer than a normal one, but since this car has the low profile tires and it has the coilover suspension, it rides really firm, because it's a big car. It's above 2 tons in weight, and it just handles superb on the road, I would say. So the engine is really calm when you're cruising, the lighting is real good, and of course you got the night panel, which is epic for Saabs. So you turn down everything. And this car has some other cool features which not all of the other cars has. So it has the tire pressure monitoring sensors, so you can see the tire pressure on all 4 tires while driving the car. And if you just flip on the turning signal, then you can get some other warnings. You can see how much the battery is charged, how long it is until next oil change, and this is also something that you can upgrade and get a lot of more stuff out of it. So this car is equipped with the lane departure warning, so if you get a little bit too far to the side, it will tell you that you are going off the road, which is super good. When I did the drive home from Germany, it was really helpful, because then I was doing a lot of hours in the car, and the last couple of hours that I drove, I was super tired, and it really helped me, because it's super easy to be not really focused and just drive a little bit close to the side. So if you get a little bit too close, it will warn, and if you turn like the signal on, if you're going to do a drive-by, then you will not get the warning, so it will be deactivated during that small amount of time. So we're gonna turn around right here. You can see as I turn, the lights turn with the steering wheel, so I can aim the lights where the road is, which is really neat, especially when you're driving at night, and especially out at the Swedish countryside. Then it's really useful because it gets really dark during the winter months of the year. So I talked a little bit about power output earlier, the petrol engine compared to the diesel engine. So the TID that I got has a GDM stage 1 tune, so it's actually a little bit quicker than this car is stock. So this has the 190 brake horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque, and it pulls really good. It has the twin turbo, so it's really responsive, and it has a lot of torque. As I said before, if you rev up to like 3000 RPM, then the fun is over. So the rev range is really small, and that's due to all the diesel engines. They don't rev that high, but still super great car to own and super good to drive. If you get the chance to drive an NG95, I suggest you take that chance, because the first time I drove it, I just fell in love with it straight away. And with a little bit of your own modifications, as for me, I like the little bit lowered style to get the little bit stiffer handling. So this car is super responsive. As I said before, it's like a 2-ton car, but it acts like a go-kart, so you can really push it through the corners. And in a couple of weeks, this car is going to get a stage 1 tune as well, and I will make a video of that happening. So with the stage 1 tune, it takes the car from 400 Newton meters up to 470. So that is a lot of increase, and that's mostly due to the twin turbo setup in this car. One thing that I don't really like, that I came to think about when I met this car right here, is to turn the headlight on, you push the leveler in front of you. On the old like OG93, OG95 and NG93, Saab has always been like one push against you, then you will switch it on, and one push more, then you will turn it on, which has worked super good, and which is like the way it should be, I think. Now they have changed, and I think it's mostly a GM thing, because Saab is a lot smarter than that, or was. So we should try to find a little space to park up the car, and I can go through the menus of the car. So I'm gonna try to show you some of the display. So you scroll through the display right here to change the menu. So here we have the first one, which is pretty epic. It's purely taken from the aircraft. So here you have, as of right now, It's 6.9 liters 100 kilometers, which is not the best fuel consumption. I have driven it a little bit hard. It's usually a little bit lower than that, but it's around that area. And when you have the navigation on, then you will get the instructions up in the display, which is pretty neat. And you can also just black it out completely. But this is really cool. I also forgot to mention it has the sign recognition, so there's a camera up here that reads the signs and they are being displayed at the center. Which is really good, because often I'm not that aware when I drive past the sign, and after a little while I just be like, what speed is the limit right here? So it's really good. So that's it for this video and this little review. It feels like I've been talking a little bit of shit about the Turbo 4 and the Turbo 6 engine, and by any means it's awesome engines. You just have to be aware that the timing chain could fail, and if it fails you have to have the money to repair it, and then it should be an awesome engine and an awesome car to own. The car is basically the same, just the engine that differs a little bit, and you got the NG95 that I haven't touched up on so much yet, and that is the ones with four-wheel drive or cross-wheel drive, and also with the other options with manual transmission and automatic transmission, but that will have to be another video. So this was a little short review. If you still have some questions about the car, please leave a comment down below and I will try to answer them as good as I can. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!